So, yeah. Liz buffs, huh? A bunch of them. 5, in fact. Well, arguably 4, because 2 of them are the same, and you can probably guess which, but... A bunch of Liz buffs today. I normally don't even talk about the buffs that much on stream or on any videos or anything, but... Today, I thought, this is probably going to be a short thing anyway, but I just want to give you my brief opinion of the buffs, what they do, are they going to be impactful, what uses they could have if it's not clear and whatnot, so there you go. I'm going to start from here, I think. So, Caster, the OG welfare, Halloween 1. Oh yeah, in case you didn't know, there's a new rerun which gives you every single Liz now. You get all of them. Not Lancer, though. You get the welfares, basically, if you missed them, so that's very nice. I don't think... Let's see if they updated. Oh, they already updated. Beautiful. They didn't have this earlier. So, yeah. The Guts now also has a battery of 20 to 30% for self. And, well, and it also causes a burn amplifier for 5 turns on all enemies. Not a big deal, though. But, you know, it's more about the battery here. So... It's good, because she obviously didn't have any battery yet, you know, in her kit. No MP per turn, no nothing, so... And she is basically a farm caster, being an AoE buster, damage dealer, so it's nice, I would say. I mean, they tend to do a lot of batteries for buffs nowadays anyway, but I don't really mind it. Some people are like, oh, it's a new buff, oh, it's a battery again. I mean, yeah, it's kind of true, but in this case, I think it kind of makes sense. Now, some people said now she should be viable with the Koyanska system, right? Is that true? Can you do it with like a 7-turn cooldown, though? Okay, so yeah, you can make it work. The cooldown itself is still too long. You might need a plug suit or, you know, like a Super Scope Oberon, but it's an option. It's not a great one, but, you know, it's something. She's still very basic, needless to say, but I think the buff itself is pretty cute. It might help her to be some kind of a farmer, but not much will change in my opinion, especially when Caster is a free one, and if you beat LB6, you even got the buff that makes him a crazy good farmer, so he's already much easier to use. He is story locked despite being a 3-star, so getting him is not the easiest thing ever. But like to MP5, but I still think most people would probably just, you know, stick to like Caster, or there's many options for like AoE caster, so I don't think this will change too much, but it's a cute buff, and I'm just happy old welfares are not only being accessible again, but also getting more attention, because they very, very rarely buffs welfares. In fact, this is only the 4th time ever welfares have been buffed, so keep that in mind in the 6+ years of the game's life cycle. So yeah, that's okay. Then we got the Mecha Liz buffs. Yeah, as I said, they're both the same though. And let's take a look at that. Just open one of them here, because again, it's the same. So their batteries now, the normal, these effects all remain the same. It's still a 10 to 20% battery with some self damage. So yeah, these effects remain the same, but now this is actually very interesting. Like Star Bomb is also a common buff, but yeah, it's a Star Bomb. A buff they do a lot nowadays with batteries, but it's not a small one. It's a 25-star bomb actually, so that's pretty good. You gotta realize that for her, even a small buff is more meaningful in my opinion, because she is a welfare alter ego. I still don't think alter ego is an amazing class, but for like newer accounts that don't have like amazing options and whatnot, she can do a lot of work. So this already is a nice buff in my opinion. Like, she was already good. Not amazing, but good. Like, she could do the job, right? Her MP, I assume everyone knows that her MP actually can hit really hard if you just like give her good buffs. And like even her own buffs, like this, she even herself has a 60% MP up alone, which helps a ton. Granted, it comes with a demerit, but this is just great. Because she also does have crit potential, as seen here. So stars, I kind of like. I like, man. I think this one is a much better buff than the caster one. At least. Mostly because she's a welfare alter ego. But also because it kind of... Both the buffs fit the purposes of the servant, but I feel like this one just feels a bit better to me personally. So, say very simple basic buff, but it's good. She's still great. Now, and we got the other two Liz's as well. One being welfare still, and one being not welfare. But yeah, let's take a look at Saber first, huh? So the second welfare, Saber Liz, Brave Liz, whatever you want to call her. We all knew her third skill used to be a meme, right? Drains 100% MP gauge, and then gives you a random effect. Already two very bad combinations. So they did buff the skill. It's still sadly random, but now it only takes 50% MP gauge. Now, I was looking at discussions earlier and whatnot, and a lot of people were saying this might not be that good. I'm still of the opinion that this skill is still pretty bad, mostly because, you know, you have no control over which effect you get, because there's so many options. There's like, what, 5 options? But a lot of people never realized it, that this skill never set her MP to 0 gauge, right? That's what a lot of people thought. It only drained 100%. Now that it's 50%, it's a lot better. Mostly because you gotta keep in mind, again, she's a welfare, right? So it's a free MP5, meaning you can go over 100% MP gauge. See where I'm going with here? So there can be a lot of scenarios where you can use both the MP and the third skill much easier now. You used to need 200% if you wanted to use them on the same turn. Now you need 150. Keep in mind, she also has MP, like, where is it? MP gain on her kit. So getting above 100% on some really good, like, crit turn with her arts cards is not completely unrealistic, okay? So while I still hope they would have, like, you know, let you choose the outcome, but it's a good buff, I would say. The skill is still pretty awkward, mostly because of the randomness. Not even more so than because of the 50% drain, but because of the randomness. But it's now much easier to use, which I like. That's basically what it is. It's much easier to use. She can still hit very hard for her MP because, you know, you get a free MP5. She has a mana burst of her own, and you can even get even more damage from here in 2 different ways. But yeah, besides, you know, beating Jill in a contest, I don't think she's still the greatest option out there. Keep in mind, because, right, we still have Santa Karna and Hokusai Saber, both also welfares, and I think most people would agree that they just tend to be, like, way better options, you know? It's a cute buff. It won't solve the big picture. It just makes her easier to use. That's what this buff is. So all in all, not terrible though. And then, in my opinion, what is the best of the bunch, and I'm not surprised at all, keep in mind, she's the only non-welfare here, so I'm not surprised she, at least in my opinion, gets the best buff, which is into her torture technique, the defense down. Now, I've always said that torture technique, much like charisma and other buffs, like skills like this, they're way too old at this point. They could all use a buff, and it seems like they're starting to buff them a little, because, like, you have a single target defense down for 3 turns on a 5-turn cooldown, with that scales to 20% for most of them, I think. That's too little, right? Nowadays, we have skills that do this and 10 other things, right? It's not terrible, it just does so little. So they are buffing them, and she did get a buff to it as well just now. So now, very importantly, it's AoE, first of all. It's not a single target defense down anymore. It's now AoE, which I'm a huge fan of. And then she removes 1 buff from all the enemies. Sadly, not a full buff wipe. This skill would be absolutely EX tier broken if it was a full wipe. Still nice though. Buff removal is always good though. It's just 1 buff, and it's always the latest one when there's always remove 1x of something. But it's nice. It's still nice. And then you also get a skill seal for 1 turn. And again, it's a 5-turn cooldown, so it's actually, in my opinion, this is now a very solid skill. And what's even more good about it being AoE, is that obviously she herself is an AoE DPS, right? So that just helps her as well. She's already a great, like, utility support, having the female charisma. You could just pick her for this, I suppose. Now this helps her more, and also, you know, it's better for supporting as well. So it's like a double buff when you think about it. It helps with her supporting, and it helps herself do more damage. So I think this is a great buff. It's just a great buff. It's a really good skill now. So there you go. Definitely the best of the bunch, in my opinion, for the non-welfare. But a lot of people at this point already have Liz anyway. So there you go. That's basically kind of, I guess, what I think of the new buffs. I don't know. Let me know if you want to hear my opinions in the future again, or when there's more buffs and whatnot. And if you don't want me to hear my opinion, let me know as well, and I'll stop doing these. But you know what? For now, I might just post this on YouTube and something as well. So there you go. That's how I feel about the 4 new buffs for the Liz's. And anyway, like the video if you did, subscribe for more, and yeah, hope to see you in the next video. Peace out.